Honey breads. Hamster chef receives Grandma Hedgehog's strawberry cake order and confidently notes it down.
Oh no!
But accidentally knocks over the flour canister, turning the kitchen white. Time's tight, mixer jams. He sweats but makes a mini cake with leftovers. At the crucial moment, a little squirrel delivers a strawberry. At the party, Grandma Hedgehog and her child see the mini cake and joyfully celebrate the birthday. Hamster chef breathes a sigh of relief, quietly wiping away tears. Lola Cat and a small yellow duck wearing a white apron compete in an egg fried rice showdown at an outdoor contest venue. Lola Cat prepares confidently but flips the pan too hard, scattering rice everywhere. The bird judge, hit by flying rice, is thrilled. Lola Cat's creative fried rice earns a 9.9 score. Lola Cat celebrating smashes the canopy. The small yellow duck, frustrated, falls into the rice pot, rice sticking to his feathers. Little yellow duck finds a magic soup recipe in a mini kitchen and excitedly tries it. He tosses in rainbow fruits and the pop bubbles with colorful foam. A stray kitten sneaks a sip. Its fur turns purple, eyes wide in shock. A stray puppy drinks. Its tail becomes rainbow-colored. In a flurry, he checks the recipe. Finding lemon juice can undo the magic. While squeezing a lemon, he slips, juice sprays everywhere, and the magic is undone. The kitten and puppy return to normal but clamor for more soup. On a scorching summer day, Yellow Duck makes chocolate ice cream for Little Bear. But the fridge suddenly breaks down, and the ice cream melts entirely, dripping messily onto the floor and attracting a small swarm of ants. Yellow Duck panics and jumps around, hearing a knock at the door. Thinking fast, he mixes the melted ice cream into a smoothie, pours it into a cup with a straw. Little Bear drinks it happily, exclaiming it's better than ice cream. Yellow Duck breathes a sigh of relief, only to be surprised when he sees the ants have licked the floor shiny. Yellow Duck makes pancakes for a penguin friend in a mini kitchen, eagerly flipping them, but one flies to hide and sticks to the ceiling.
Oh no!
The penguin squawks loudly, desperate with hunger. Yellow Duck, determined to help, grabs a broom, climbs a small ladder, and even jumps high, but the pancake stays stubbornly stuck on the ceiling. The penguin, in a rush, knocks over flour, turning the kitchen into a snowy mess. They laugh together. Yellow Duck lifts the penguin, who packs the pancake down perfectly. They share the sweet pancake, giggling at their flour-covered selves. In the mini kitchen, Yellow Duck trembles before the Muddy Meow Mix Challenge. Penguin mugs, one bite, and you'll quit. Yellow bravely chomps, spewing rainbow bubbles, face turning green, knocking over cans, sparking laughter. Penguin roars with taunts, but Yellow Duck, undeterred, gulps the whole can, stunned to find it's strawberry-flavored. Finally, Yellow Duck proudly raises a fishy biscuit can, teasing the next challenge, with Penguin absent, highlighting Yellow Duck's triumph. At a bustling taco stand, Hamster chef meticulously crafts perfect tacos, only for Yellow Duck to mistake glitter for spice and ruin the salsa. Customers gag on the glittery tacos, infuriating Hamster chef, who chases Yellow Duck with a spatula while Penguin Duck snaps photos, laughing hysterically. The glitter salsa explodes, covering Hamster chef in sparkles, leaving him humiliated. Yellow Duck calmly munches a glitter taco, praising its disco-delicious flavor. Finally, Hamster chef furiously points at Yellow Duck, who giggles while eating. Yellow Duck excitedly tried a new recipe in a tiny kitchen. ignoring Hamster chef's warnings, and pours an entire can of chili powder into the pot. The pot starts smoking, but Yellow Duck dances, celebrating the delicious smell. Suddenly, with a bang, the pot lid flies off, knocking over a flour bucket, and Hamster chef, terrified, rolls into the spice cabinet. The kitchen turns into a volcanic scene, with smoke and flour everywhere. Yellow Duck laughing while Hamster chef lies on the ground in panic, both covered in flour. Yellow Duck eagerly prepares a mini Kit Kat cake for a penguin friend in a tiny kitchen, accidentally knocking over Hamster chef's mystery powder. Mistaking it for powdered sugar, he boldly pours it into the batter. Hamster chef notices the mistake, frantically pointing at the smoky mixer, but it's too late. The mixer explodes, turning the kitchen into a chocolate volcano. Yellow Duck grins sheepishly, saying, "No flavor, maybe," to lighten the mood. A penguin passes by, pecks at the filled cake, and surprisingly raves about its delicious taste. Yellow Duck excitedly prepares to make a Kit Kat chocolate cake in a miniature kitchen. Yellow Duck intently stirs the batter in a tiny bowl. Penguin's wild, toothy laughter from behind startles Duck, causing a messy spill. In a panic, Duck sets the oven too high, causing smoke. Duck nervously cuts Kit Kat with an oversized knife, and I'm helping Yellow Duck carefully pours batter into a tiny pan. Miraculously, the cake bakes perfectly, its aroma silencing Penguin. Duck proudly decorates the cake, and Penguin, amazed, takes a delicious bite. Penguin excitedly dives face first into the cake, splattering chocolate everywhere. Finally, Duck and Penguin, covered in chocolate, laugh joyfully in the messy kitchen. Hamster chef rides a motorcycle to the store to buy flour. It picks a bag of fine flour from the shelf and returns to its mini kitchen to crack eggs, mix milk and the flour to make a rich batter. It heats a small skillet and fries toast until golden and crispy. Hamster chef invites his little bird friend to share the warm toast drizzled with maple syrup. Lola Cat, wearing a safety helmet, rides a motorcycle to the fish market, picks a fresh fish and puts it in the basket. Carrying the bought fish, rides the motorcycle to the vegetable garden to pick greens and mushrooms. Back in the mini kitchen, it carefully washes the vegetables, then cuts the fish into slices and cooks a steaming hot pot broth. Finally, Lola Cat invites little Yellow Duck to enjoy the hot pot together. Lola Cat discovers a pile of delicious dry fish and eagerly gobbles it up, bite after bite, until its belly swells up big like a little bowl. While walking, its chubby belly bounces, making puff-puff sounds, causing passing birds to chuckle. Lolo Cat, happily sharing a strawberry cake with the birds. On the lively streets of Thailand's Songkran Festival, Lola Cat eagerly joins the water splashing celebration with a water gun, aiming at passers-by and spraying water. It hops onto a tuk-tuk to keep shooting. As the sun sets, Lola Cat sits under a banyan tree with a little bird, sharing a chocolate cake. Lola Cat dozes off in a mini kitchen, unaware of a pot catching fire. Suddenly, thick smoke fills the air. In a panic, it throws a bowl of cream cake batter, accidentally extinguishing the flames. The pot gives birth to a smoky cream cake with charred batter. Little Yellow Duck, drawn by the scent, tries it and declares it the best smoky cake ever. In the end, the cat becomes famous for smoky cuisine. Lola Cat excitedly signs up for a ramen contest, but is mocked by a fox chef who says,
Oh no!
"How can a cat make ramen?" It secretly practices in the kitchen, swinging dough with its paws, often ending up with noodle soup on its face. On the contest day, Lola Cat performs the cat pole noodle dance. In the end, with its chewy, cat hair scented ramen, it wins the title of Cat Pole Ramen King and proudly holds the trophy with a smile. Late at night, Hamster Chef receives an anonymous food order in his mini kitchen, nervously preparing while furry monsters in the forest. Riding an electric scooter to a forest clearing, it finds hungry small animals around a campfire. It recognizes an injured little yellow duck it once helped, and the duck gratefully approaches. They share a steaming dinner together, laughing under the starry sky. Hamster Chef had just prepared his signature roasted carrot rolls,
Oh no!
but discovered there were no carrots in stock. As customers started arriving, the situation was about to spiral out of control. Fortunately, it found a few strange purple carrots and Hamster Chef first slices the purple carrots into thin pieces, then rolls the sliced purple carrots into flower-like shapes and bake them into a new dish called Purple Carrot Fantasy Rolls. The dish became an unexpected hit, making the restaurant a roaring success. On Hamster Chef's opening day,
Oh no!
a bake oven mishap sparks a fire. He frantically extinguishes it, still smiling to keep going. Outside, Little Rabbit waits impatiently, muttering about the dessert's delay. Amid the chaos, Hamster Chef cleverly uses caramel sauce to mask a slightly burnt cake, presenting a flame-kissed dessert. Little Rabbit takes a bite, delighted, and raves, bringing friends to join the growing queue. Hamster Chef smiles behind the counter as flame-kissed dessert becomes his signature. Hamster Chef prepares bell pepper soup for Squirrel Miss's birthday party, but accidentally adds super spicy chili, turning the soup red instantly.
Oh
After
no!
tasting a spoonful, he rolls on the floor from the heat, his tail smoking. The soup bubbles wildly as he panics, then cleverly grabs honey but spills the jar. Inspired, he mixes honey and milk to create a golden orange noodle soup. At the party, Squirrel Miss, in a pink dress, praises the tasty soup. Hamster Chef wipes wet and smirks while birds lick the spilled honey, causing a hilarious scene. On a hot Thai street, Lola Cat's stomach is growling. Lola Cat rides a motorcycle to a roadside stall. It hands over coins with its pole, receiving a steaming skewer of grilled food. Its aroma wafting through the air, Lola Cat sniffs it happily, takes a bite, and upon noticing a skinny stray dog, breaks the skewer in half to share. Lola Cat, carrying a candy bag, hopped to the mountaintop to stargaze. It met a little yellow duck. Suddenly, a ferocious lion leapt out, intending to eat the duck. Lola Cat raised a colorful lollipop and shouted to distract the lion, then rushed to the cliff's edge and threw the candy to confuse it before bravely jumping off. At the mountainside, Lola Cat grabbed the colorful hot air balloon and flew away. In the end, under the moonlight, Lola Cat and the little yellow duck shared a cake. Lola Cat decides to pilot a red small plane for an adventure. It spots a large eagle swooping down to catch a small bird. Lola Cat decisively adjusts its course, crashes into the eagle, forcing it to release the bird, then jumps out of the plane, Lola Cat floating in the air, opening a parachute to land safely. Finally, Lola Cat and the small bird share a feast on the grass. Hamster Chef stood excitedly at the dock, ready to set out on a wooden boat for fishing. He cast his bait from the boat, full of anticipation, until a giant megalodon suddenly leapt from the water, startling him. Dropping his fishing rod, he frantically paddled to escape as the furious shark chased, nearly swallowing him and the boat several times. Finally, the megalodon rammed the boat, sending Hamster Chef screaming into the water. Clinging to a plank, he floated in shock, luckily drifting back to shore, where he sat drenched on the beach, exhausted yet relieved. Hamster Chef decides to make French baguettes. He rides a mini motorcycle to the supermarket to buy ingredients. At the supermarket, it selects the best flour, loading them into the cart. Hamster Chef basically kneads the dough, then waits for the bread to rise. It shapes the dough and places it in a small oven. The bread comes out golden and crispy, filling the air with a delicious aroma. Finally, it invites a stray kitten to share. Hamster Chef rode a red motorcycle to the bakery and bought a red bean bun. With one bite, the sweet, soft red bean filling surprised it delightfully. It went to the supermarket to buy flour, red beans, and sugar to take home. Hamster Chef needed dough. Stuffed it with red bean filling. And with a ding from the oven, fragrant buns were ready. Hamster Chef invited a bird friend to share the treats on the grass. Hamster Chef rode a small motorcycle to the orchard, picking the reddest, sweetest strawberries under the sun to fill its basket. Back in the mini kitchen, it carefully mixed batter, added strawberry jam, and baked a fluffy strawberry sponge cake. After the cake was done, it spread cream and decorated it with fresh strawberries. Finally, Hamster Chef shared the sweet strawberry cake with a small little yellow duck. Hamster Chef rides a motorcycle, zooming toward the orchard, picks golden mangoes, and puts them in a small basket. Back in the mini kitchen, it peels and cuts the mangoes, blends them with milk and ice into a smooth milkshake, pouring it into small cups with tiny straws. Hamster Chef invites the little yellow duck friend to enjoy it at the salad table. Hamster Chef rides a mini motorcycle to the orchard, picking fresh blueberries to fill a basket. Then, it rides to the supermarket, slipping into the fridge to choose a smooth piece of cheese. Back in the mini kitchen, it mixes the cheese into a batter, stirs in blueberries, and bakes a cake in a small oven, the aroma wafting as it finishes. Hamster Chef shares the cake with a yellow and white stray kitten. Hamster Chef rides a small motorcycle to the store to buy dark chocolate. Hamster Chef picked a chocolate bar at the chocolate shop. Back home, it melts the chocolate, mixes the dough, and adds chocolate chunks. The hamster watches the cookies bake in the oven, the aroma wafting out. Fresh from the oven, golden crispy chocolate cookies are done. Hamster Chef with a much smaller kitten, sharing warm cookies overflowing with happiness. Lola Cat discovers a mysterious jade pendant on the grass. The pendant shines brightly, transforming it into Neza's form. Outside the town, a monster rages, threatening residents. Lola Cat rides the wine fire wheels toward the monster, nimbly dodging attacks, and stabs its weak spot with a fire-tipped spear, defeating it. The residents cheer, and Lola Cat returns to its original form, heading home with a victorious smile. One day, the sky split open, and a giant monster descended upon the town. Hamster chef accidentally swallowed the red lotus pearl, transforming into Nella with wide fire wheels and a far-tipped spear. Bravely charging at the monster, it deftly dodged attacks, roasted the monster's weakness with flames, and finally pierced its heart, saving the town. After the battle, it reverted to a hamster, and the townsfolk cheered it as a hero. Lola Cat rides a small bicycle to the butcher shop to buy beef, picks a fresh piece, puts it in the basket, and heads home. In the tiny kitchen, it shaves the beef into a patty, sprinkles salt and pepper. Lola Cat heats a pan, fry it golden and juicy. Next, it assembles a burger with lettuce, tomato, the patty, and a squeeze of sauce. Finally, it takes a big bite and meows with satisfaction. A skinny stray dog stands on the street by the window, stomach growling. Lola Cat sees it, feels pity, jumps off the windowsill, and runs to the kitchen. It takes bread, spreads peanut butter, adds ham and cheese, and makes a sandwich. Lola Cat splits it in half, walks to the dog, and gives it one half. Finally, Lola Cat and the stray dog become friends, happily playing on the grass. Hamster chef hops on a mini motorcycle and rides to the store to buy a bag of flour. Back home, it mixes the flour, sugar, and cocoa powder, then cracks in some eggs, stirring it into a thick chocolate batter. Carefully, it pours the batter into cupcake liners and bakes them in the oven. Once baked, Hamster chef spreads chocolate frosting on top. Finally, it shares the cupcakes with a stray puppy at a street corner. Smiling at the puppy happily enjoys the treat. Hamster chef rides a mini bicycle to the store to buy matcha powder. It squeaks its way there, happily returning home with a can of matcha. It beats eggs, adds sugar and flour, and mixes them into a batter, carefully blending in the matcha. It pours the batter into a tray and bakes it in the oven. Once baked, it spreads cream, rolls the cake, and cuts it into pieces. Hamster chef eats a bite, full of happiness. Finally, Hamster chef shares the matcha cake roll with a stray puppy. Lola Cat rides a bike to the store to buy donuts and, amazed by their delicious taste, decides to make some at home. It takes out flour, sugar, and yeast, mixes the dough, shapes it into rings, and fries them until golden. The donuts come out fragrant, and Lola Cat happily takes a bite. It shares the donuts with stray dogs, watching them wag their tails with joy. Hamster chef rides a motorcycle to the supermarket to buy milk, chocolate, and sugar. Back home, it melts the chocolate in a mini kitchen, stirs in milk and sugar, and freezes it in the fridge. Hours later, the chocolate ice cream is ready. It takes a bite, then runs to the street corner to share with a group of stray cats. Lola Cat, carrying a backpack, excitedly goes mountain climbing. Halfway up, it spots a bear about to eat a little yellow duck, and cleverly jumps out to confront the bear. The bear chases relentlessly as Lola Cat runs to the cliff's edge. Lola Cat jumps straight off the cliff, leaving the bear shocked and stunned, and opens an orange parachute to land safely. The grateful little yellow duck follows it to the mountain base, where they enjoy cake and juice together. Hamster chef carries a small backpack and hums a song while heading to climb a mountain. He meets a yellow duckling. Suddenly, a ferocious tiger leaps out to eat the duckling. The hamster, quick-witted, raises a chicken leg and shouts to distract the tiger, runs to the cliff's edge. The hamster bravely jumps down and slowly floats in the air. and opens a colorful parachute to float down safely. Finally, it sits with the duckling on the grass, happily enjoying pine nut cookies and the juice feast. Lola Cat finds a terrifying snake about to eat a trembling, teary-eyed duckling. Deciding to save it, Lola Cat quietly jumps onto a branch, shaking it to distract the snake. Gripping the trunk, it waits as the snake licks up, then pounces, grabs the duckling, and flees. The angry snake chases, but Lola Cat slips through bushes, escaping with the duckling. Finally, it brings the duckling home, and they become best friends. Lola Cat decides to go to the pasture. After stopping the cow, Lola Cat proudly rides it home. It knocks the cow out with a small stick and carefully cuts off a piece of beef. Then, in the kitchen, it fries the beef, sprinkling salt and pepper. Finally, Lola Cat sits at a normal-sized dining table, eating a beautifully plated steak. Hamster Chef is unexpectedly drawn into the squid game. The giant popper girl shouts, "Red light, green light." It looks up at the distant puppet, nervously preparing to move. Around it, contestants are swiftly eliminated by lasers, the scene tense. But it relies on agility and calm to approach the finish line. At the last moment, it passing the challenge, tense yet relieved. Lola Cat decides to make a grilled shrimp feast. It waits patiently, jumps with excitement when a big shrimp is caught, and takes it home to wash. Season with salt and pepper and grill on a small rack in the mini kitchen. The shrimp comes out golden and crispy, filling the air with aroma, and Lola Cat happily enjoys it. Hamster Chef decided to make char siu rice. He went to the meat market. Next, he cut the pork into small pieces, marinated it with soy sauce, honey, and 5-spice powder, and placed it in a mini oven to roast until fragrant and golden. Meanwhile, he cooked white rice in a small pot, the aroma wafting through the air. Hamster Chef sliced char siu, laid it over the steamy rice. Finally, Hamster Chef happily enjoying his tasty masterpiece. On a beautiful day, Lola Cat selects cheese at the supermarket. Lola Cat kneading dough into a round base with focus. It spreads tomato sauce, sprinkles cheese. Lola Cat fetches pineapple chunks and ham slices, carefully placing them. Lola Cat opens the oven door with anticipation, taking a big bite of the pizza, cheese stretching as it happily squints. Hamster Chef decides to make a cheesecake. It gathering cracker crumbs, cream cheese, and mixes the cheese batter into a mold. The golden, crispy cheesecake comes out, filling the air with aroma. Hamster Chef checks it, sneaks a taste of the batter, and nods happily. It cuts the cake, splits it, and sits down to enjoy its delicious creation with delight. Lola Cat gets caught in the Squid Game's red light, green light. The giant doll shouts, "Red light, green light," and Lola Cat looks up nervously. It steps forward with short legs, focused and breathless. As lasers eliminate others, Lola Cat glances back in panic, but stays agile and calm, nearing the finish. It strikes a perfect red light pose, passing with a tense, relieved look. Lola Cat decided to make a golden steak. It rode a small motorcycle, excitedly heading to the meat stall, and picked a prime steak there. Lola Cat carefully patted the steak, sprinkled it with salt and pepper, then fried it until golden and aromatic. Lola Cat delicately wrapped the steak in gold foil, making a shimmer. Lola Cat took a bite of his homemade luxurious steak and smiled happily. Hamster chef rides a squeaky motorcycle to a milk tea shop and orders a pearl milk tea, exclaiming, "So delicious," after a sip. Back home, it brews black tea with milk, kneads tapioca flour into pearls, boils them until chewy and transparent, then mixes them with brown sugar syrup and adds them to the milk tea. Taking a sip, it nods with satisfaction, smiling proudly, feeling like a genius chef. A man coldly abandoned a kitten on a deserted island and sailed away alone. The kitten stood on the beach, bewildered, watching the boat fade into the distance. Just then, a hamster rode by and bravely came to the rescue. It fed the kitten from its supplies and caught a wild chicken. At night, the hamster built a campfire and roasted chicken wings. Finally, the hamster took the kitten on his boat, leaving the island for home. A hamster from a seaside town rowed out in a wooden boat with his tiny fishing rod. It caught a small fish, but a fierce shark surged out, lunged at the boat,
Oh no!
and made it wobble as the hamster screamed.
Oh no!
Just in time, a stray puppy swam from shore, bit the shark's tail, and drove it away, saving the hamster. Back on shore, the grateful hamster grilled the fish and shared it with the stray puppy. The little hamster decides to make a katsu danbori. In a mini kitchen, it coats it in flour, egg, and breadcrumbs, fries it in a hot oil pot, and adds a sizzled Japanese egg. Then bites, crunch echoing, savoring ass and bliss. The hungry hamster decided to make ramen in its mini kitchen. It mixed flour and egg and water into a soft dough, then rolled and cut it into fine noodles. As the water boiled, it cooked the noodles and finally enjoyed its tasty ramen. A little cat named Lola Cat wanted to make steamed buns. One morning, in its tiny kitchen, it kneaded dough with warm water, mixed a filling of pork, onions, soy sauce, and salt. Rolled the dough into skins. Wrapped the filling into buns and steamed them for 15 minutes. When the hot buns were done, Lola Cat took a bite, meowed happily, and felt proud. Little Lola Cat deciding to make pasta. It boils water with salt, fries garlic, adds butter, tomato sauce, and milk for sauce. Lola Cat mixes it, adds cheese and basil, and eats happily at the mini table. Halfway, it shares some with a thin stray cat outside. Lola Cat decided to fly abroad to buy tasty snacks. It packed a red backpack with pocket money, eagerly headed to the airport, past security, and gazed at clouds from the plane window. After landing, it hurried to a foreign shop, grabbed some fish snacks, and flew back home, munching happily. Once home, it kindly shared the snacks with a gray stray cat, savoring a joyful moment together. Hamster Chef went to the cinema and bought popcorn, eating it while watching the movie, finding it delicious. Back home, it studied a recipe to make popcorn and went to the store to buy corn. Sprinkled sugar on the popcorn, and the aroma filled the air. After finishing, Hamster Chef gave it to a stray cat on the street, watching the cat eat with satisfaction. Lola Cat makes a chocolate cake, flour, cocoa, sugar, and eggs. It stirs the batter, splashing cocoa on its fur, and sneaks a lick. After pouring it into a mini mold and baking it, Lola Cat watches it rise. Once done, It decorates with cream and sprinkles, then shares it with a stray kitten in the mini yard for its birthday, cutting a warm slice. Lola Cat decided to make fried rice. It ran to the garden to dig up carrots and picked two fresh eggs from the farm's chicken coop. Back in the kitchen, the kitten fried the eggs until golden. Added leftover rice to stir fry until fragrant. When the fried rice was ready, Lola Cat meowed happily, holding the steaming dish. Finally, it sat at a small table, eating the fried rice with a spoon. A stray cat curled up in a corner. He mustered up the courage to take a roast and wanted to give it to the cat he liked, but she refused him coldly. "You can't even afford a decent dinner." She left with a rich cat in a suit. The stray cat was discouraged, but he met a gentle cat on the street. After that, he met the love of his life. She did not despise him, but encouraged him to pursue his dreams. The stray cat made up his mind, worked hard, and studied, and eventually became the chef of a restaurant. He also participated in the international culinary competition and won the world championship. On Valentine's Day a year later, the stray cat wore a neat chef's uniform and brought out the dessert he made by himself, and the gentle cat took it with a smile. Outside the window, the cat who once looked down on him saw his radiant appearance and regretted it. The stray cat and the gentle cat smiled at each other and spent this special night happily. In the early morning, the stray cat gathered fresh potatoes, skillfully chopping potato and beef. After that simmering, a rich curry aroma gradually filled the air. Stray cat contentedly enjoyed his homemade curry. A giant stray orange cat with a deep passion for gourmet food decided one day to cook a delicious pork chop. The stray orange cat went to the market to buy ingredients. Then, it arrived at the pigsty, gently tapped a pig with a stick, and brought it back to his own kitchen. With skilled precision, the cat sliced the pork into thin pieces, preparing them for frying. As the meat sizzled in the pan, turning golden brown. Finally, it sat down, fully satisfied, and indulged in the meal it had lovingly prepared. A hamster is on its way to the mall and wants to buy today's ingredients. He chose the oatmeal he liked and immediately cooked the oatmeal when he got home. While eating, he also showed a satisfied smile. Another day in the life of a little hamster, he's kneading dough wanting to make a pizza. Two hamsters are discussing the pizza making process. The pizza is being heated and baked. The little hamster is taking the pizza out. The little hamster smiles happily and contentedly. A hamster gazed at the stars from the kitchen, dreaming of space adventures. It built its first spaceship in the backyard with wood and metal, but it exploded during testing. Undeterred despite the setback, it crafted an improved spaceship with new materials and successfully launched, floating in space. The hamster looked at Earth and the stars with joy, fulfilling its dream. A hamster hides in an abandoned kitchen. It stands on the counter, warily staring at the zombie figures wandering outside the window. Zombies crash through the glass outside, and the hamster immediately runs for the back door. The hamster rushes onto the street, surrounded by burning cars and collapsed buildings. It hides in a trash can to avoid being found by zombies. It drives off at full speed towards safety. A hamster with a checkered apron stands at the sushi shop door, ready to start work. It cuts salmon in the kitchen, preparing ingredients with focus. then rolls sushi on a bamboo mat, smiling. Next, it serves the sushi to a customer, earning a satisfied nod. After work, the hamster sits on the steps outside, eating its own sushi, looking content. A hamster prepares to make perfect croissants, starting with the ingredients and kneading the dough with tiny paws to ensure softness and elasticity. It places them in a mini oven, then presents the golden croissants at a competition. Finally, it raises the championship trophy on the podium, celebrating its victory and shining at the center of attention. A drenched kitten clings to a broken plank, drifting on the blue sea. A hamster on a small wooden boat spots it, urgently rowing over, reaching to pull the panicked kitten aboard, saving it. The boat reaches shore, and they step onto golden sand. Waves lapping gently as the setting sun frames flying seagulls. The hamster pulls out mini cookware, lights a stove, and prepares a golden sweet omelet. The king licks its lips curiously, accepting the fresh dish. At sunset, they sit side by side on the beach, savoring the meal with satisfied smiles. A hamster grills chicken skewers at a mini night market. Business booming with irresistible aromas. Many customers come to buy his grilled chicken skewers. It often shares skewers with stray cats, earning their affection. One day, while crossing the street, a speeding car nearly hits the hamster. This car is driving too fast. In a flash, a stray cat irregularly feet leaps forward, pushing it to safety and saving its life. Shaken but grateful, the hamster notices the cat's injured leg and gently bandages it. From then on, the hamster and the brave cat become inseparable friends, sharing warm moments and skewers at the night market. Thanks for watching.